This message was held back 4 times, but finally, the universe said, "It's time." Listen, my friend. What you are reading right now was meant for your eyes only, for your spirit alone. In the vast, humming expanse of creation, a single thread of light was woven with your name on it, and it has traveled through resistance, through static, through the heavy fog of human doubt to reach you here, in this quiet moment. Do not scroll past this. Do not dismiss this as another whisper in the wind. This is your cue, the one your soul has been straining to hear beneath the cacophony of a noisy world. Before you take another step, before you let another thought cloud your mind, just breathe. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, release the notion that you are late, that you are off track, that you have been forgotten. What is coming for you has been circling your life like a great, patient bird riding a thermal, waiting, watching, until the air currents aligned perfectly for its descent. It has been there in the golden hour glow that made you pause last Tuesday, in the song that played on the radio just when you needed to hear its lyric, in the dream you couldn't quite remember but whose feeling lingered all day like the scent of rain. The stars themselves convened and decided that today, this very hour, you are finally ready to handle the truth of your own magnitude. My friend, listen closely. This is not merely text on a screen. This carries a frequency, a specific vibration of affirmation and liberation that was silenced again and again. For times it was blocked, once by a well-meaning but fearful guardian energy from your past that thought it was protecting you from disappointment. Once by the collective murmur of, "Be realistic," that hangs like a low ceiling in the atmosphere of human endeavor. Once by a moment of your own deep exhaustion when your faith was at its lowest ebb, and the signal could not get through the static of your sorrow. And once by the subtle, envious energy of another who, perhaps unconsciously, cast a veil over your path. For times the path was clouded. For times doubt, both internal and external, tried to drown it out. But today, the cosmos itself hummed a single, clear note that dissolved all barriers. Let it through, the universe vibrated. They need to hear this. They are strong enough now. If you are feeling a quiet pull in your chest as you read this, a tightening in your throat, a prickling behind your eyes, or a sudden, deep calm, that is not a fluke, not a trick of your tired mind. That is your soul, your eternal and ancient self, nodding in profound recognition. It is the feeling of a key finally finding its lock after being carried for miles. Before I go on, if you feel that undeniable tug in your core, the one that says pay attention, then I urge you, stay close. Do not let the practical demands of the next hour sweep this away. The universe has been leaving you clues for ages, painting them in the sunset, spelling them out in license plate numbers, hiding them in the words of a stranger, echoing them in your child's laughter. But the noise of everyday life, the bills, the deadlines, the endless scroll, the unresolved conversations, kept muffling them. You'd catch a glimpse, a feeling, and then the world would rush in and say, "That's just coincidence. That's just wishful thinking." It was not. I don't want you to miss what's next. This is the turning of the page, the hinge upon which a great door swings, and you are meant to walk through it awake and aware. Right now, as you read these words, there is a powerful, guiding presence right beside you. It is not a ghost, not a phantom. It is a consciousness of pure support, an intelligence of love that has accompanied you since before you took your first breath in this life. It might feel like a warmth on your shoulder, a gentle pressure on your crown, or simply a knowing so deep it feels like memory. It is speaking in a language your spirit can finally translate, the language of synchronicity, of metaphor, of pure felt truth, because the next few sentences are going to crack open a shell you've been living in. You have built this shell, layer by layer, from other people's expectations, from your own perceived failures, from the need to be safe, to be acceptable, to be manageable. But a shell, no matter how comfortable, is still a confinement. Today, that confinement ends. You have been hoping in the quiet, in those moments between waking and sleeping when your defenses are down. You have been weary in private, putting on a brave face for the world while inside, a deep fatigue settled into your bones. You have asked the silence, the empty room, the steering wheel on a long drive, when will it be my turn? When does the struggle yield to ease? When does the planting become the harvest? And every single whisper, every tear-choked question, every sigh of resignation was heard. Not just noted, but felt. It landed in the receptive heart of the universe itself, and it began to orchestrate a response so specific, so perfectly tailored to the core of your being, that you will look back and see the divine logic in every delay. Let me tell you something you weren't ready to know until this exact second. Your progress was not slow because you were incapable. It was tangled up in someone else's insecurity, a parent who, out of love and their own fear, taught you to play small, a partner who needed you to need them more than you needed your own wings, a friend who could only feel secure when they were one step ahead. Your joy was dimmed not by your own inability to feel, but by another's resentment, a bitter energy that could not tolerate your light and so cast a subtle shadow across it. Your momentum was slowed by people who smiled to your face, celebrated your little wins, but deep down, feared your flight. They feared what your ascent would say about their own groundedness. That is why this message was held back 4 times. Because this truth, once it lands inside you and takes root, changes the entire game. It shifts the blame from your own spirit to its proper place, and in doing so, it frees you. You stop trying to fix a flaw in yourself that was never there and start recognizing the external dynamics that were, for a season, holding you in place. Feel this. Let it be more than an idea. Let it be a bodily experience. Your setback was not a cosmic no, it was a divine not this way. Your hurt was not a life sentence for a crime you didn't commit, it was the cracking open of your heart to make room for a deeper, more resilient form of love. Your waiting was not an empty, wasted space where life passed you by. It was the universe's workshop. While you felt stuck, the universe was in the back, assembling something magnificent with your unique fingerprints, your specific dreams, your secret prayers etched into its very blueprint. And tonight, as you read this, the gears of that creation begin to turn, engaging with the mechanism of your tangible life. You are being gently lifted, now, out of the repetitive loops that have exhausted you, the loop of overgiving and resentment, the loop of striving and collapsing, the loop of seeking validation from dry wells. You are being untangled from the invisible cords that connected you to people who wore the mask of support but were secretly keeping score, who stored your vulnerabilities as currency, who mistook your kindness for weakness. You are being guided, with a hand softer than thought, toward a future where your very presence carries weight, where your voice holds authority, where your simple being is recognized as a contribution. You might not see it with your physical eyes, but you have been witnessed. Every noble impulse, every secret act of integrity, every time you chose kindness when bitterness was an option. You have been witnessed not by a judgmental eye, but by the compassionate light of your own spirit guides, by the whispered encouragements of your ancestors who see in you the dreams they carried, by the quiet, intelligent magic of the world itself that operates on laws of growth and blossoming. They have been walking with you, a step behind, a step ahead, all around you, waiting for this precise moment when your heart, softened by trial and weary of the fight, would be supple enough, open enough, to let this fundamental truth in: you are, and always have been, on your side. And so is all of creation. Your rising starts here, in this breath. Not on a stage someday, not when you lose the weight, not when you get the promotion, not when you find the partner. It starts in the silent, potent realization that is happening within you as you read. Because I am about to tell you what the cosmos refused to let stay hidden any longer, the truth it protected until you were strong enough to bear its brilliance. Someone, somewhere, in a realm that interpenetrates our own, has been whispering your name. They have been speaking it into the spaces between atoms, into the quiet hum of the magnetic field, into the place where thoughts are born. Not to hex you, not to bind you, but because your destiny is finally clicking into place, and the sound of your name is the tuning fork. Yes, your name was written in the stars today, not for the first time, but for the first time that you are capable of reading the script. And when the universe calls your name with this kind of intentionality, no human hand, no bureaucratic delay, no jealous heart, no economic downturn can stop what is destined for you. It arrives not as an invasion, but as a homecoming. Your heart didn't ache for no reason. It was being stretched. Your disappointments weren't random strokes of bad luck, they were precise lessons in discernment, teaching you to tell the difference between a glittering distraction and a genuine treasure. The people who left, the lover who walked away, the friend who faded, the colleague who turned, didn't leave because you were lacking. They left because your spirit was becoming too vast, too complex, too real for the small, comfortable world they wanted you to live in. Your growth threatened the cozy confines of the relationships built on the person you used to be. Their departure was not a rejection of you, it was an inability to accompany the you that was being born. This is why the universe said, "Let them see it now." They're ready. You are walking, stumbling, perhaps crawling at times, but undeniably moving into a season where the invisible becomes solid. Where the faith you've been clinging to suddenly grows hands and feet and begins to build. Where what was frozen in fear or stagnation starts to flow with a momentum that feels effortless. Where the hopes you barely dared to voice, the ones you scribbled in journals or cried into your pillow, begin to take shape in the physical world and move toward you with a will of their own. I know you're tired. I know you feel a weight that others don't seem to carry, a weight of sensitivity, of seeing what others ignore, of feeling the emotional currents in a room, of caring deeply in a world that often rewards detachment. People lean on your light because it is steady, because it feels like home to them. But when you need to lean, when your own light flickers, the world often goes quiet. Offers of help that were promised evaporate into polite excuses. The listening ear you provided becomes suddenly busy. This loneliness in the midst of your giving has been one of your deepest pains. The cosmos saw that. The cosmos felt that hollow ache in the center of your chest. And the cosmos is answering now, not with a chorus of new people, but by first making you your own deepest support, and then by magnetizing to you souls who understand the sacred contract of mutual sustenance. Your change, your breakthrough, won't come from the same place that caused the hurt. You won't find your financial solution in the industry that broke you. You won't find your true love in the same pattern that left you lonely. You won't find your peace in the same mindset that created the war. Your gift will come from a direction you never saw coming, a hobby that becomes a livelihood, a stranger who becomes a soulmate, a forgotten skill that becomes your salvation. A window you thought was painted shut, a dream you gave up on years ago, is swinging open, and this time it's not you straining to pry it loose. The wind of destiny itself is pushing it wide, and the breeze that flows in carries the scent of a future you stopped allowing yourself to imagine. This message feels different because it is different. It is not a generic pep talk. It is a specific, energetic transmission, calibrated for the frequency of your spirit at this exact point in your evolution. The reason you feel compelled to keep reading, even if a part of you is skeptical, is because your deepest self, your higher self, recognizes what your future has already lived. It is remembering forward. This moment, right here, is the pivot point. The axis upon which your past and your future balance. And you are being given the gentle nudge that tips the scale forever toward your becoming. Let me show you something deeper, a layer beneath the personal story. You were chosen, before you took a single breath, to heal a line in your family story. To be the one who says, the pain stops here. To transform inherited fear into courage, lack into abundance, silence into authentic expression. You were chosen to stand where others sat down, to speak where others stayed quiet, to dream where others settled for reality. You were chosen to walk a road that others called too risky, too unrealistic, too spiritual, too much. And because you kept going, even when every cell in your body wanted to quit, even when you took detours through despair, the universe is now tipping the scales in your favor. The compounded interest on your courage is about to be paid out. You weathered storms that were not meaningless chaos, but were meant to reshape you, to sand down the rough edges of ego, to wash away the trivial concerns, to leave you clear and clean like a stone in a river. You carried weights that were meant to teach you your own strength, to show you that you are far more resilient than your fearful mind ever believed. And yet, through it all, you miraculously kept your compassion. You still reached out a hand to a stranger. You still forgave when you had the right to hold a grudge. You still loved, even after love left scars, because you understood that to withhold love was to poison your own well. That is why the universe sighed for you. Not a sigh of pity, but a sigh of awe, the sigh one makes when witnessing something profoundly beautiful and resilient. Because even on your knees, in your darkest night, you were unconsciously, inevitably, becoming exactly who you were always meant to be. The pressure was creating the diamond. This year will not close as it opened. The person who reads these words is not the same person who lived January 1st. Your narrative is changing from a story of endurance to a story of emergence. Your inner balance, that sense of being centered and unshakable, is returning not as a fleeting feeling but as a permanent residence. And a new current, a stream of synchronicity and grace, is entering your life with purpose, ready to carry you toward shores you've only glimpsed in dreams. There is a reason, a mathematically precise, spiritually perfect reason, you found these words at this exact minute and not a moment sooner. A spiritual latch, a lock on a door inside your own psyche, is coming undone. It is the latch of unworthiness, of not yet, of who am I to? As it clicks open, you will feel it. Situations in your external world that have been stagnant, frustratingly stuck for months, a legal process, a career move, a relationship in limbo, will start shifting without warning, as if an invisible logjam has been released. Faces from the past may reappear, not as ghosts to haunt you, but as mirrors to show you how far you've come. Your intuition, that soft voice you've learned to sometimes ignore, will become a clear, resonant bell in your chest, telling you instantly and without doubt who is safe and who is not, what is aligned and what is not. And a wish you'd almost forgotten, a simple childhood dream or a quiet prayer from years ago, will return to you, not as you imagined it, but multiplied and matured into a form that can actually thrive in your current life. Hear this next part not with your ears, which are conditioned to doubt, but with your soul, which knows only truth. A miracle is already in motion. Its trajectory is set. It is not coming soon. It is not arriving next year. Its energy is propagating through the unseen dimensions now, in this instant, as you form the concept of the words miracle in your mind. It has been sent from the source, the wellspring of all creation, and nothing, no negative thought, no past mistake, no envious glance, can reroute it anymore. It has your name as its destination coordinates. You are not reading this by chance. This is not a random algorithm. Your guides, your spiritual support team, have been holding these specific words, this specific frequency, in a state of potential, waiting for the perfect astrological alignment, the perfect emotional openness, the perfect crack in your armor of busyness, to deliver them. And now, your spirit, weathered but wiser, is finally open enough, still enough, to catch them. You are, in this moment, a perfect receiver. So close your eyes. Just for one breath. Inhale, and let this truth settle not just into your mind, but into your bones, into the marrow where your body's intelligence lives. You are entering a chapter of sacred exchange. The old economy of effort and reward is being upgraded. You are moving from a model of scarcity to a reality of divine reciprocity. What you lost, the job, the relationship, the money, the status, will be replaced by what actually fits the person you have become. Not a replica, but an upgrade. What broke you will not be glued back together in its fragile old form, it will be rebuilt into something stronger, more flexible, more beautiful, like kintsugi gold filling the cracks. What was taken, your time, your energy, your peace, will be returned, with interest. The universe is not a thief, it is the ultimate accountant of energy, and it has been witnessing your struggle, your honest effort, your withheld bitterness. Now, it is orchestrating your rise, and it does so with the flawless timing of a cosmic symphony. There is a reason you felt a shift in the air before you even read the first word. A stillness, a prickling on your skin, a sense of something. Because what is approaching is not a small stroke of luck, not a minor convenience. It is a divine course correction. It is the universe gently but firmly taking the wheel of your life and steering you back onto the path your soul originally contracted for, the path of purpose, joy, and authentic expression you may have strayed from in order to please, to survive, or to belong. The very moment this message reached your eyes, a pathway in the unseen world cleared. A luminous road that has always been there, but was overgrown with the weeds of other people's expectations and your own fears. This pathway was guarded, not to keep you out, but to keep the wrong companions from following you down it. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, refused to let your blessing be diluted, misunderstood, or claimed by those who quietly hoped you'd stay small, manageable, and within the confines of their comfort. It saved this route for you, and you alone, to walk when you were ready to walk it in your full power. Listen closely, for this is a vital discernment. There is someone near you, in your physical orbit or your emotional sphere, whose words are sweet, whose compliments are frequent, but whose energy feels heavy, draining, subtly competitive. Someone who clapped for you on the surface at your success but was secretly uneasy with your growth, because it highlighted their own stagnation. Every time something good was near you, a new opportunity, a spark of joy, their hidden envy or fear created static in your field. It wasn't a curse, it was a low-grade interference, like a radio station slightly off frequency. That is part of why this message was blocked those 4 times. The universe knew that if you had seen this truth earlier, in your beautiful, trusting heart, you might have shared this vision, this hope, with that very person, seeking their validation. You would have given a piece of your blueprint to someone who didn't deserve it and might have even used it unconsciously to try and rebuild your old cage. But look at you now. You're reading this alone. In a quiet room, or a crowded cafe where you are spiritually alone. You're reading it with clear eyes, eyes that have cried enough to see clearly. You're reading it at the precise moment your soul is ready to hold this truth, to digest it, and to act from it without needing to explain it to anyone who wouldn't understand. A new chapter in a story doesn't start when the scenery changes, when you move to a new city or start a new job. It starts when you change. When your perspective shifts, when a core belief is replaced, when your identity upgrades. And something inside you has stirred. You can feel it, can't you? It's a simultaneous feeling of ending and beginning. A grief for what is finally being released, mixed with an electric excitement for what is to come. A strange, deep peace you can't logically explain, even though on paper, nothing has changed yet. That peace is the eye of the hurricane. It is the epicenter of the shift. That feeling is the signal. It is the proof that your guides, your angelic support, the loving consciousness of the universe, have drawn nearer to you than they have in years. They are not far-off celestial beings, they are presences of energy and love that are now surrounding you, close enough that you might feel a chill or a wave of warmth, because a sacred delivery has been released from the higher dimensions. The package has your name written on it in starlight, and it is now in transit to your physical reality. Have you noticed your dreams are more vivid lately? That they linger with you throughout the day, carrying a mood or a message you can't quite articulate but can't shake. Has your gut feeling become louder, more insistent, refusing to be politely ignored? Do you find you can sense a person's truth, their anxiety, their dishonesty, their kindness, before they even speak a word? That is not your imagination working overtime. That is not anxiety. That is a spiritual upgrade. Your internal hardware is being updated. The universe is raising your personal vibration, your sensitivity to energy, because you are being prepared to step into a blessing, a role, a life that requires a stronger, clearer, more self-assured version of you. The old you, with its fuzzy boundaries and need for external approval, could not have managed the energy, the responsibility, or the joy of what is coming. This new version, forged in fire, can. For too long, you let your innate gentleness, your desire to see the good in people, make you ignore the red flags that were waving right in front of you. You trusted promising words over consistent, grounding actions. You gave your heart to those who treated it as a temporary shelter, not a forever home. You carried responsibilities that weren't yours to bear, out of a misplaced sense of duty or guilt. But that all stops now. Not because you become hard or cynical, but because your spirit is waking up to its own sacred worth. And when a destined spirit awakens to its own value, no shadow of doubt, no person from the past, no fear of the future can block the light that is meant for it. The light doesn't fight the shadow, it simply illuminates the space, and the shadow ceases to exist. You have been, though it may not have felt like it, in a necessary season of purification. A detox of your emotional and spiritual body. That is why people around you have been acting out of character, lashing out, withdrawing, revealing hidden pettiness or jealousy. They are reacting to the change in your energy. That is why you feel a sense of disconnect from old circles, old conversations, old hobbies that once fascinated you. They no longer match your frequency. Distractions, people, habits, obsessions that consumed your energy, are being removed from your path, not as a punishment, but because your true purpose is now calling your name. And it is calling louder, clearer, and more persistently than any noise the world can make. I need to tell you something the cosmos just breathed into the air, a message I am compelled to pass to you. Your long-awaited breakthrough won't come from more grinding, more hustling, more forcing. It will come from alignment. The moment you internally surrender the struggle, release the how, and step fully into the peaceful, knowing truth of who you are and what you deserve, the miracle that has been orbiting your life like a satellite will enter the atmosphere and land, soft as a feather, right at your feet. You are closer than you think. So close that the fear within you and the fear in those around you has been screaming its last, making one final, frantic attempt to exhaust you, to confuse you, to make you doubt the whispers of your own soul. This resistance is the surest sign you are standing at the very threshold of a life you once only pictured in fleeting daydreams. The guardian of the threshold always makes the most noise just before it steps aside. You've been asking for a sign, something real, tangible, undeniable, something to cut through the ambiguity and reassure your weary heart that you are on the right path, that you haven't been foolish for hoping. These words, their timing, the uncanny pull you felt to keep reading, the way they seem to speak directly to the secret chambers of your heart, this is that sign. This is not random. This is divine synchronicity in its purest form. The universe communicating in the language of perfect timing and resonant truth. I am speaking to you with profound intention now, because something in the structure of your life is about to give way. A wall you've been leaning against, a burden you've been carrying, a situation that has felt stuck, frustrating, and heavy for years, its foundation is cracking. Not from more pressure from you, but from a gentle, irresistible force of grace moving beneath it. Listen carefully. This is a reframe that will change your history. You were not rejected. You were rerouted onto a scenic path that held gifts the highway could never offer. You were not forgotten. You were being fortified in solitude, made strong enough to hold the blessings awaiting you. You were not unlucky. Your blessing was being shielded from premature exposure, kept safe in a divine trust until you were ready to steward it properly. There were those who wanted a seat at your table, for the feast meant only for you. The universe, in its protective love, delayed the feast until their true colors showed, until the masks fell away. And now, they are showing. The veils are thinning. Clarity is emerging. You may feel alone in your room, but you are deeply, powerfully supported by forces of love you cannot see. You may feel weary to your very bones, but you are not abandoned. You are being given a moment of rest before the next push. You may feel unsure of the next step, but the cosmos is certain about you, about your path, about your destiny. Your guides have been alchemists in the background, tirelessly working to transform your pain into deep wisdom, your tears into lenses of clarity, your struggles into unshakable resilience, and now, your persistent hope into tangible, manifest grace. Do you know why this entire experience feels like an unlocking, like a series of bolts sliding back in your heart? Because you have reached a critical spiritual tipping point. The universe honors your endurance. The cosmos acknowledges the sheer effort it has taken for you to keep your heart open. Love, the fundamental force of creation, sees your heart, not just its wounds, but its courage, its fidelity, its capacity. And what love sees, it nourishes. It rewards. It magnifies. A blessing that left your life, a person, a opportunity, a state of mind, is cycling back. But pay attention, it is returning in a wiser, more evolved form. The lesson has been integrated. A connection that hurt you, that broke your trust, will not be repaired. It will be replaced by a bond that respects your depth, honors your boundaries, and celebrates your light. A financial logjam, a feeling of constriction around resources, is starting to break. You will notice it soon, not as a gradual, barely perceptible change, but suddenly. An unexpected check, a debt forgiven, a new income stream appearing, a solution to a money problem arising from an unexpected corner. It will feel like a tide coming in, silent, powerful, lifting every boat in the harbor, especially yours. Let me tell you the sacred truth about your waiting. You thought you were waiting on the universe to get its act together, to notice your file, to send the memo. But the universe was waiting on the right moment within you, for the healing to reach a certain point, for the lesson to be fully learned, for your vibration to align with the blessing. Those conditions are met. The right moment is now. There's something else, a piece of interpersonal energy I am guided to reveal. Someone from your past has been thinking of you intensely. Their mind keeps circling back to you. Not with anger or bitterness, but with a growing sense of regret, with a nostalgic longing, with a dawning, humbling understanding of what they had and what they let go. Because the moment the cosmic wind started shifting in your favor, blowing you toward your destiny, their spirit felt the growing distance. They feel the energetic cord thinning, and it creates a pull of recognition in them. Now, in their quiet moments, They are beginning to understand the magnitude of what they lost when they lost you. But, my friend, hear this as a warning wrapped in love: do not turn back. Do not mistake their regret for your redemption. Do not shrink yourself back to fit the small space you occupied in their story. You are rising. You are expanding, your consciousness blooming like a flower reaching for the sun. You are glowing with an inner light that old mirrors, those that reflected a limited version of you, simply cannot reflect. Those who couldn't match your frequency before, who couldn't see you then, cannot walk with you into this new dawn. Your path is lit from within now, and it requires companions who have done their own work in the dark. There is a new energy, a new presence, approaching your life. It may be a new person who feels like a breath of fresh air, a new chance that feels tailor-made, a new road that appears just as the old one crumbles. It is something divinely timed, something that was written into the subplot of your soul's story long before you were born. The universe has been echoing your name into the fabric of fate, into the quantum field of possibility. And fate, that intelligent pattern weaver, is now answering with a pattern that includes joy, ease, and fulfillment. You may not see the physical evidence yet, but something tangible, something confirmatory, will shift within days. A phone call, an email, a chance encounter, an internal realization so profound it changes everything. It will be the event that confirms this message was not just beautiful words. It was prophecy. It was a preview of coming attractions. So place your hand on your heart. Feel the rise and fall of your breath, the steady rhythm of your pulse. That warmth beneath your palm, that aliveness, that is not just biology. That is your soul, in its physical vehicle, preparing to receive. That is the universe aligning the cellular intelligence of your body with the brilliant future of your spirit. That is your destiny, not as a far-off concept, but as a living, breathing presence, waking up inside you. You have walked through fires of betrayal, failure, and grief, and you were not burned, you were tempered. You have weathered emotional storms that threatened to capsize you, and you did not drown, you learned to breathe underwater. You have known heartbreak so deep it felt like a death, and yet, against all odds, you kept your heart open. Do you understand what that means? You are marked by a spiritual resilience that is rare. You are protected by a grace you cannot always feel. You are spiritually robust, wired for evolution. And a spirit like yours cannot be destroyed by circumstance. It can only be transformed, and each transformation makes it more radiant, more authentic, more powerful. The next part of your journey will feel curiously guided. It won't be without effort, but the effort will feel joyful, aligned. Doors you used to pound on will open as you approach, as if they were expecting you. Help, resources, and perfect information will appear from the most unexpected corners, from people you've just met or forgotten you knew. Opportunities will line up not as random chances, but as pieces of a puzzle falling into place with perfect logic. This is because you are now entering your divine window, the astrologically and spiritually auspicious period where miracles pick up speed, where blessings arrive unannounced and in abundance, where breakthroughs seem to seek you out, instead of you chasing them down with exhausted desperation. Listen carefully, for this is a law of energy. The moment this message reached your awareness and you felt its truth resonate, your personal timeline recalibrated. The energy signature around your name in the collective field shifted from seeking to receiving. Your life story turned a page from a volume of struggle to a volume of grace. This is not a metaphor or wishful thinking. This is spiritual mechanics, as real as gravity. Your yes to this truth was the switch that flipped the circuit. And now, your only task is to prepare your mind and your life to receive what was, in the grand design, always meant for you. As you read deeper, something in the core of your being is stirring from a long sleep. You might feel it as a lightness in your chest, as if a stone has been removed. You might feel a tingling in your hands, the energy centers awakening. You might feel a deep, settling calm, a silence within the noise. That's not your imagination. That's alignment. That's your soul, after a long and confusing journey through foreign landscapes, recognizing the territory of home. It is sighing, finally. The universe has been waiting, with infinite patience, for you to reach this exact point of understanding for months, perhaps years. You have been carrying existential questions with no satisfying answers from the outside world. You have been holding a silence about your true feelings and dreams that felt heavier than any spoken burden. You have been lying awake wondering why a loving universe would allow you to lose so much, love, security, time, dreams, before allowing you to gain anything solid. But listen, and let this answer soothe the ache: nothing you lost was ever meant to stay in your life permanently. They were lessons, experiences, catalysts, but not permanent fixtures. Nothing that left, whether by your choice or another's, was part of the future currently being assembled for you. Their departure made space. Nothing that broke you, your heart, your plans, your ego, was strong enough to destroy the essential, eternal you. In fact, you survived internal wars and external trials that others in your life didn't even know you were fighting. That silent survival, that private resilience, is the ultimate proof that you have been held, guided, and cushioned by a grace far gentler than you realized, all this time. There is something sacred, something holy, in the particular way you have endured. You didn't just survive, you often chose the higher road. Even when hope felt as thin as a spider's web, you kept a spark of it alive. Even when the path vanished in fog and you had no map, you took one blind, faithful step, and then another. Even when others misunderstood your heart, your motives, your need for solitude, you kept becoming yourself anyway. Do you see how powerful that makes you? Do you understand how rare it is to consciously choose to hold light, to be kind, to believe in good, when surrounded by evidence of darkness and cynicism? This is why the universe mobilizes on your behalf. This is why unseen forces move mountains behind the scenes for you. You are a custodian of a precious frequency, and the cosmos supports its keepers. You are not, and never have been, ordinary. This is the root of your feeling of being different. Your life has felt more intense, the joys higher, the pains deeper. It has felt more spiritually dense, as if you were constantly processing more than those around you. This is because souls who carry a specific purpose, a destined contribution, are forged in tougher fires. The crucible is hot to burn away all that is not essential. But remember this immutable law: to those forged in such fires are also given greater wonders, deeper joys, and a capacity for bliss that the untempered spirit cannot fathom. I need to tell you something urgent, something the cosmos impressed upon me with the force of a necessity. Your name has been spoken in the realm of pure beginnings, the place where possibilities are born. Not once, as a casual mention, but repeatedly, with focus and intention, by guides, by angelic forces, by ancestors of light who are actively preparing your way, smoothing the ridges, calming the storms ahead of you. Your path is being cleared of debris. Your destiny is not a passive idea, it is being activated like a program booting up on a cosmic computer. And every force that tried to hinder you, to make you quit, to convince you of your smallness, has lost its power in this new energetic landscape. Their influence is being rendered null and void by the sheer voltage of the light now moving through you. Have you felt strangely distant from people lately? Even close friends or family? Found yourself suddenly indifferent to dramas that once hooked you, quiet in conversations that used to excite you, detached from emotional roller coasters that once drained you? This isn't depression. This isn't fatigue or misanthropy. This is spiritual elevation. It is a necessary, benevolent detachment. The universe is gently loosening the glue of old, low vibrational attachments because your hands, your heart, and your schedule need to be empty and open to hold and manage the magnitude of what is coming. You cannot receive a grand new gift with arms full of old clutter. Your spirit is in a profound process of shedding skins, of molting. You are not who you were last year. You are barely who you were last season. Your soul has matured not through easy times, but through experience that demanded growth. Your intuition has honed itself to a sharp edge not through peace, but through disappointment that taught you to listen to a deeper voice. Your faith has deepened not in the sunshine, but in the silent, scary quiet when you had nothing but faith to hold on to. And now, the universe is preparing you for a chapter, a role, a love, a creation that will require every ounce of that hard-won wisdom, that sharp discernment, and that deep, unshakable faith. Let me tell you a secret that few truly grasp, though many speak of it. When your inner energy changes, when you shift from fear to trust, from unworthiness to sovereignty, from seeking to receiving, your outer reality must shift to match it. It is a law, like physics for the soul. When your spirit rises in vibration, your environment rearranges itself. People who match your old vibration will fall away. Situations that resonate with your old fears will dissolve. When you elevate, you outgrow, not with malice, but with the natural inevitability of a child outgrowing clothes. That is why some relationships ended without a dramatic blow-up. That is why some friendships faded into polite memory. They were not ripped from you. They were released with love. You prayed for protection, for peace, for a better life. The universe answered not by changing those people, but by separating your path from theirs, creating the necessary space for your prayer to be answered. You've been asking for peace. The universe is giving you the clarity that precedes true peace, the clarity to see what and who is actually for your highest good. You've been asking for blessings. The universe is giving you alignment, the inner state that acts as a magnet for those very blessings. You've been asking for a sign, a signal. The universe is giving you this message, this direct, personalized communication that bypasses the intellect and speaks straight to the soul. There is a miracle approaching your life. It is moving quietly, softly, silently through the dimensions, but it carries with it an immense force of transformation. This miracle will do more than change your bank account or your relationship status. It will change your identity. It will alter how you see yourself in the mirror, not with criticism, but with recognition and love. It will change how you honor your own needs, how you speak your own truth, how you step, unapologetically, into the power that has always been dormant within you. Something is being removed from your path. It might be a mental block, a belief like, "I'm not good with money," or "I always get left." It might be a delay pattern where you self-sabotage right on the brink. It might be a toxic relational pattern you inherited. It might be the physical presence of a person who drains your energy simply by being near. It might be a fear that has shrunken your world, or a doubt that has whispered lies in your ear for decades. The cosmos, in its meticulous care, is now clearing the way. It is not punishing them or you. It is simply removing the obstacles so the blessing it sent for you can finally, unimpeded, reach its destination, you. You have no idea how close you are. The universe has been in its workshop, preparing a blessing so large, so perfectly suited to the core of your being, that even you, in your most hopeful moments, will question whether you deserve it. You will look at it and feel a moment of holy awe, perhaps even shyness. Let me be clear, you do deserve it. You deserve it precisely because you stayed kind when you had every cause and justification to become cruel. You deserve it because you chose to stay soft, to keep feeling, when the world tried to harden you into a statue of self-protection. You deserve it because you stayed stubbornly hopeful when all visible evidence suggested you should give up. You deserve it because you kept faith, in goodness, in love, in yourself, when letting go of that faith would have been the easier, more socially acceptable path. This message was held back those 4 times because this core truth, that your worthiness is not in question, would have redirected your life's trajectory too early. You might have leapt before the net was fully woven. But now, the universe surveys your spirit, sees the strength in your eyes, the resilience in your posture, the open but discerning readiness in your heart, and says, "Now." They are ready. Ready to receive without guilt. Ready to rise without apology. Ready to step, with both feet, into the life that has been waiting in the wings for its lead actor to take the stage. A sudden shift is coming. It won't feel like a slow, gradual dawn. It will feel like someone flipped a master switch. It will feel like everything begins to happen at once. Doors you didn't even know existed will open. Solutions to problems that have plagued you for years will appear, seemingly out of thin air. Support will arrive from people you least expected and in the most perfect forms. Unexpected goodness, financial, emotional, creative, will begin to flow toward you like a river finding its bed. Not drip by anxious drip, but in a steady, generous wave. Because when the universe finally delivers on a long-held promise, it does not sprinkle, it pours. It is making up for lost time in the most abundant way possible. Let me tell you something sacred, a truth about the social dimension of your awakening. You are stepping into a season where your name will be mentioned in rooms you have never entered, in conversations you are not a part of. Where people who once doubted you will speak of you with a new tone of admiration, even reverence. Where opportunities, clients, collaborators, lovers will recognize you, the energy of you, the truth of you, even before you formally introduce yourself or present your credentials. This is not about ego, it is about the magnetic field of alignment. It is the universe granting you a favor that cannot be bought, manipulated, or faked. It is a favor that comes only as the birthright of those who have endured the silence, kept the faith, and refined their character in the private fires of transformation.